Good afternoon, everyone, from Joy Wellness Partners and Enliven Aesthetics here in San Diego, California. Happy March and looking forward to April. Today we're going to talk about DIM, and I have wonderful practitioner Martina Erskine, who's in her second year of being a nurse practitioner here at Joy Wellness Partners. She is going through her anti-aging and functional medicine fellowship right now and taking all of the knowledge about hormone metabolism and bringing that to light to us today. So we're really honored to have her presentation, and we look forward to a great set of questions. You can hold your questions till the end and put them in the chat box, and then we'll go through them at the end. Thank you. Hi, so I just changed the title of the presentation this morning from DIM to DIM and hormone metabolism, because it's really hard to talk about DIM without mentioning a little bit about the estrogen metabolism and also testosterone aromatization of estrogen. That's why the title. DIM is the supplement we always suggest for all our patients that are on hormones or not even on hormones to take it. And a lot of people don't like to take that, so I thought it would be good to do a presentation about it to kind of explain what are the benefits of taking DIM. So there are the different forms of DIMs. This is, of course, in the middle chemical structure of the DIM. Those are two brands that we like to use. We use DIM from BioT because it has a SGS class in it. We also like the DIM from Protocol for Life Balance because that one has some calcium diglycerate in it, which I'll explain soon why it's good and what are the benefits of it. So DIM, the chemical name for this is diindolyl methane. It's actually naturally occurring compound. We can find it in the Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cabbage, kale, cauliflower. So it's not natural supplement. You can eat those veggies instead of taking DIM if you're really in good diet. So it's not necessary for everybody, but it's hard to eat broccoli or cabbage every single day. That's why we highly suggest for patients to take the DIM. So some people ask what's the difference between I3C and DIM. It's basically the same. They both are from cruciferous vegetables. However, the I3C has to convert to DIM to become a DIM. So it's like kind of skipping one step. So what are some benefits of DIM? So it decreases risk of hormonally related cancers like breast cancer, prostate cancer, or thyroid cancer. How does it do it? It actually helps convert the active estrogens into 2-hydroxyestrogens versus 4 or 16 hydroxyestrogens. And they're like 2-hydroxyestrogens, the good estrogen. However, 4-hydroxyestrone and 16-hydroxyestrone are those bad estrogens. And I will explain why and how it metabolizes. And also improves free testosterone levels by preventing its aromatization to testosterone to estrogen. And also binds to the receptor and stimulate apoptosis, which is killing of the dead cells, killing of the cancer cells. AMPK signaling. So this is like a very simplified type of like graph. Shows us how estrone, which is E1 estrogen, can convert to 3 different pathways. One is 2-hydroxyestrone pathway, which is the good one. Then it's 16-hydroxy pathway, which is called the ugly one. And there is 4-hydroxyestrone pathway, which is the bad one, the worst one. And that one causes like you see, it's pro-carcinogenic. That's the one that causes a lot of estrogen-related cancers. So we have 3 different types of estrogens in our body. It's not just one, it's not just estrogen. We have an E1 estrone, we have an E2 estradiol, and we have an E3 estrol. And each one has a little bit different benefits. So estrone, that's the main estrogen that's made in postmenopausal women. And a high level of that estrogen may increase the risk for some breast cancers. Estradiol E2, that one is the really good estrogen. That one actually increases HDL, which is the good cholesterol, decreases LDL, the bad cholesterol, decreases total cholesterol number, reduces atherosclerosis, really helps with absorption of some of the electrolytes like calcium, magnesium, zinc, helps maintain memory, and helps maintain bone structures, and increases serotonin, which is the happy hormone, and decreases fatigue. And the last one, estrol E3, that one is 80 times weaker than E2. However, it's still
really, really good and still does similar things like increases HDL, good cholesterol, decreases LDL. This one restores vaginal pH, so it's really good for prevention of any UTI, which is urinary tract infections. Also helps maintain pregnancy, and that one binds to estrogen receptors, so prevents those receptors to be occupied by the bad estrogen E1. So now we'll talk a little bit more about the E1, because that's the one that converts to 3 different pathways. So like you see on the top, it's estrogen, the E1 that we talk about, and it can go 3 different pathways. One, the long green one, it's the good pathway. It's called 2-hydroxyestrone pathway, and then it converts to 2-hydroxyestrone, and that one is the good estrogen, blocks action of stronger estrogen, and might prevent cancer formation. So that's the pathway we want to go through. The second pathway, it's 4-hydroxy pathway. That's the worst one. That's the one that directly damages DNA, causes some DNA mutations. So people that have very low methionine or Bs or folic acid deficiencies tend to go that pathway. And the third pathway, it's 16-hydroxy pathway. This 16-hydroxyestrone, it also causes risk of breast cancer for women. It's also not the best pathway. It's really damaging to DNA unless it's converted back to estrol, which is E3 on the top. And people usually tend to have choose that pathway over other ones when they are like obese or have a hypothyroidism, or they have some exposure to toxins, or have too much omega-6 fatty acids, not the 3-one, and it's increased with inflammatory cytokines as well. So all those 3 pathways are called phase 1 of estrogen metabolism. Once it goes through phase 1, it has to go through the second phase, which we'll talk about soon. But how can we help with phase 1? How can we increase estrogen to go to the right pathway, the green one, the 2-hydroxy pathway? So there are a couple of things we can do, like take DIM or I3C. DIM pushes estrogen to go the right pathway, or we can eat cruciferous vegetables instead. We can take resveratrol. NAC also helps with that. Some bacteria like bifidobacterium. Also calcium D-glucarate. That's the one that it's in the red DIM that I talked about before. We can do iodine, some moderate exercises, weight loss, flaxseed, soy, kudzu. It's kind of like a plant herb you can take. It's really good to kind of balance the hormones too. Omega-3 fatty acids, rosemary, turmeric, and high protein diet. Also, we have to remember, not everything converts easily when we eat stuff. We have to keep in mind we have to chew food 30 times before it can actually help us, because glucosinolates, they're found in a cruciferous vegetables. They have to convert to isothiocyanates, and to convert it, they have to be actually the enzyme myrosinase enzyme has to be activated. So to activate that enzyme, we have to actually chew our food slowly. Just a fun fact. So now, once we push estrogen through phase 1, now we have to focus on a phase 2. Because if we will focus on a phase 1 only, not addressing phase 2, then estrogen will get stuck here and will start backing up and will start going in the wrong pathways. So actually addressing phase 2 should be our first step before going to phase 1. Phase 2, it's called methylation. 2-hydroxyestrone has to be methylated to 2-methoxyestrogen. And like you see, there's 2 pathways. It's called methylation detox. So how can we support phase 2? And that's why methylation is, this is a definition. Methylation is basically adding the methyl group to the compound. So what supports methylation? B2, B6, B12, and folic acid. That's why for all our patients, we not only check hormones, but we check very often homocysteine, and also we check B12, just to have an idea if patients like really depleted of Bs. And that's why we very often say like, oh, your Bs are very low and you need vitamin Bs to actually metabolize your estrogen. So it's really important to address both pathways. That's why a lot of our patients are taking methyl factor that has already methylated Bs and methylated folic acid to support phase 2 of estrogen metabolism. The other supplements are SAMI, methionine, that is in our MIC skinny shot, and then also TMG and also stress reduction. So aromatization. So we talk about estrogen metabolism, and now we will talk about testosterone metabolism to estrogen, which is called aromatization, because the enzyme that converts testosterone to estrogen, it's called aromatase. Once patients are like converting too much testosterone to estrogen, their estrogen levels can be too high. Estrogen, we know it's really, really good for us, for our body. However, in excess amounts, it can cause a lot of issues like heavy bleeding or spotting like between periods, or spotting for postmenopausal women, weight gain, especially in your hips and thighs, breast tenderness, gynecomastia in men, fibroids, endometriosis, insomnia, some mood issues like irritability, mood swings, anxiety, low libido, fatigue, and bloating and water retention. So those are all symptoms of estrogen dominance when too much testosterone converts to estrogen. So how we can prevent that? DIM. We can take DIM for that. That kind of prevents conversion of too much of testosterone to estrogen. We can put patients on a medication, which is anastrozole or letrozole. However, those are medication, they're by prescription, and they have a lot of side effects because they block too much. So patients very often end up having zero estrogen in their body, which is also very dangerous. And the other supplement is resveratrol, bioflavonoids like quercetin. So quercetin is really fun because we start putting a lot of patients on quercetin during COVID time, because opens up the cells for the zinc to come in, so it's really good for immune system. So recently we have a lot of patients already on quercetin and a lot of patients on zinc. So those are two supplements that help prevent aromatizations. Chrysin, that's a fun one. You can actually add that one to the testosterone cream. So our compounding pharmacy does that. So anybody who's interested in testosterone cream and converts too much to estrogen, or doesn't want to really take DIM and doesn't want to eat veggies, then we can always add chrysin to the cream. So automatically prevents aromatization. Other one are progesterone, kudu again, this plant, grapeseed extract, and also tongat ali, which is herb that was famous like a few years ago, or like 20 years ago, for actually increasing natural testosterone. So that's to increases testosterone naturally and also prevents testosterone aromatization. So obesity, that's like a fun fact, because as estrogen is usually produced in our ovaries and a little bit in a fat tissue. However, for postmenopausal women, this ovarian biosynthesis is replaced by peripheral site synthesis. And very often if women are postmenopausal and obese, the source of estrogen is fat. So not only fat causes more estrogen production, but also estrogen dominance causes fat. So it's kind of like a vicious circle. Also, obesity decreases the 2-hydroxy pathway of estrogen metabolism, which is the good pathway, and increases the bad one, which is 16-hydroxy. And also, obesity is a risk factor for developing any cancers like breast cancer. So DIM dosing, women are usually on 1 pill of DIM, which is 150 milligrams a day, unless they are a little bit symptomatic, they feel a little bit of breast tenderness, or nipple tenderness, we up them up to 2 pills. Men usually take 2 pills, they can take 3 or 4, depends on the symptoms. So in summary, it's really, really highly suggested that you would check your hormones and see what levels you are at. And also it's very important to check hormone metabolite levels, because those graphs I show you of the estrogen metabolism, I took it directly from the Dutch test, that it's urine test that basically shows you which pathway your body goes to, and then you can address that and treat it. So it's a really good test to do for anybody that's on hormones, or even people that are not on hormones. Another thing to summarize is address phase 1 first by taking methylated Bs if needed, and then address phase 1 by taking DIM or eating cruciferous vegetables. Basically, eat healthy and move a lot. Okay, thank you for your time. If you have any questions, you can contact Joel Wellness Partners. There is our phone number here, and you can schedule an appointment with us. We do hormones, we do hormone metabolites. Feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Hello. This isn't like a secret, but I was just wondering. So I've been doing that women's phase 1. It's been kind of helping. And then I did cleared up my skin, and then I'm getting hormonal acne, that's it. And so I was wondering if maybe I should try doing like a DIM a day and see if that helps the pathways. I'm like not doing the factors. So does it matter? Is it actually gonna how much does it adjust your hormone pathways? Just does it kind of just nudge it in the right direction, or does it should I actually kind of do the whole protocol?
So hormonal acne is usually due to DHT, which is like dihydrotestosterone. It's the bad testosterone. So testosterone also have its own pathways, not only converts to estrogen, but also can convert to DHT. So that's like another lunch and learn I will have to do about like how to prevent testosterone to convert to DHT, you know, what natural supplements to take for it and what we have in a clinic.
I do Nutrafol then? Like, is it, if that is like, if it's more of like a testosterone, like you said, how, because I don't know, I'm estrogen dominant.
Yeah.
So
Estrogen dominance usually doesn't cause acne. You might be estrogen dominant. You might be like converting testosterone through 5-alpha pathway, and you might just produce more DHT than the free testosterone. Yeah.
okay. Oh, so I'd be like DHT blockers, Nutrafol, kind of that pathway.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Oh, I'm glad I asked because I was like, I'll just do DIM.
On the pathway.
On the pathway synthetic estrogen. So there's a bunch of paperwork that was done. If you take synthetic estrogen, like an oral estrogen, that's the one. There's a couple articles that prove that estrogen causes breast cancer. Yeah, but all of those articles are based on a oral estrogen taken for postmenopausal women without taking progesterone. So that's why. And there's 15 other articles that actually prove that estrogen is breast cancer protective if it's taken as a bioidentical form in a cream or pellets, and also if it's taken with progesterone for postmenopausal women. So the balance of all the hormones, not just putting estrogen.
So like if someone's having like estrogen dominant symptoms, like could they just like take like one DIM to start, or is it always like do blood work first? Like how?
It's good to do blood work first, because what if you are pushing your estrogen into right pathway, but right pathway is stuck because your estrogen cannot methylate, you know, like right here. And if it cannot methylate, then it backs up and goes into 4-hydrox and 16-hydroxy pathway. So that's why they say addressing methylation is the most important.
How long do people work on the methylation portion before they can kind of like for like a month, or is it like do it for a week and then throw DIM
So
in?
it depends, because some people naturally methylate their Bs and some people don't. So sometimes they have to take a methyl factor like 3 pills a day for like 1 month, and then they can drop it to 2 to 1. Some people just have to take methyl factor 1 pill a day just to sustain it, you know. Not everybody can methylate very, very well. It depends on the diet too, you know, how much you absorb. If you have leaky gut and you don't absorb Bs, even if you eat very, very healthy and all of that.
Cool.
Martina, you mentioned something to me last week in our consultation. You said if you put the cream, the testosterone cream, on any place that has hair, it will turn into, what did you say, and why is that bad?
So if you put testosterone in a hair tend to convert testosterone to DHT, which is dihydrotestosterone, and it's the bad testosterone that actually causes the acne. That's why the hormonal acne was what Lynn talked about.
Okay. So somebody who wants to gain hair on their head can put testosterone.
No, I wish it would work like that, but it doesn't. Nope.
It's like, for some reason, you get more of a beard.
Yeah.
And more like coarse hair, wherever you have like more like, you know, underarm or pubic hair, but then you'll lose hair on your head.
Yeah, if you put on your head, then your head and your hair are so much stronger and longer than anywhere else in your body. So they'll convert to DHT, and DHT isn't because it's not only acne, but causes men's balding. So you actually will cause more balding.
Interesting.
DHT blockers are like Sopalmedo and stuff like that we have in Sopalmedo, the herb, and it's in our Nutrafol supplements. I can like separate like for about it, because I'm like super passionate about it, because my testosterone completely convert to DHT. So, you know, I want to like research more about it and like find all the cool stuff we can do naturally to prevent that. Next month, it's coming, DHT.
Thank you. That was great.
Okay.
Yeah, really
Thank you.
It was awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See you next week in person.